Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this Tuesday morning. Got a great show lined up. We'll start our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center, right there in the corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. Run by and check them out. I went by the other day and checked out Eric and that welding class, and they're working on all kinds of stuff. Got some new machines in there, so run by and check them out. Now listen, it's going to be warm again. It's summer almost gotten here already. It's going to be high of 89, low of 74, and the water temperature stays around 77 or 78 degrees. Right, those it's flexible right between those two right there. River readings. Apalachicola, Bluntstown. It is settled on down now. It's been high for about 2 weeks. It's settled down to 4.7 there at Bluntstown, and pretty steady for the week. So all week long you should have a steady river flow. The Chattahoochee looks like it's going to start going up, starting really this morning is starting, and it's at 2.4 now, but they're looking almost over 4 foot by Thursday morning. So the Chattahoochee will be rising up a little bit at Caryville. Now our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Okay, we were talking about right there the high tide at 7:06 a.m. this morning. Okay, it's going to be dropping out. The low tide will be 5:30 tonight. So high at 7:06 this morning, low at 5:30. Now the marine forecast, this almost sounds like a broken record. Again, coming out of southeast at 10 to 20. It's been blowing that way now for, I know, 2 weeks. I've checked it. It's been a really steady blow. I know we had a little bit of a calm spell Sunday morning, but it picked back up really fast. So southeast at 10 to 20. All right, we're going to take our break, and we're going to be back with our special guest. All right, welcome back, and welcome Alan Courtney.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. Glad you're here. We're going to catch up on all this bass stuff. I know you've been busy, but we got some other stuff other than bass fishing. We're going to talk about this tender closing coming up pretty soon. I got some pictures for you, but let's start talking about bass fishing first.
Are you ready for your long school vacation?
Oh, man, I think everybody's ready.
Yeah.
The students are ready, the teachers are ready. Now, I don't know if the parents are ready, but...
That's true. All right, well, let's get going on this. We'll do like we always do.
Okay.
We're going to start out with, these are all tournament results from last month, and we'll start out with the local clubs, and then we'll go to monthly tournaments, and then we'll go to some annual tournaments. So the first picture we have here is the Seminole Bassmasters. They always fish Lake Seminole. This is Mr. Alan Raines. He won their club tournament with 17.69 pounds.
All right.
Next one we got is a club that I'm in. This is the Southern Bass Anglers and Kevin Tuller, which you know him.
Yeah.
He had a good catch. We went to Lake Talquin. It's 20.44 pounds, so he did really well.
He did do good.
That's a good stringer no matter where you're at. So this is Kevin O'Lean with Miracle Strip Bass Club. They're over in the Fort Walton, Destin area, and they didn't catch much, so they didn't take pictures of the fish. They just held up their cash there.
Show me the money.
5 pounds. They say they don't need pictures of 5 pounds of fish.
All right.
So
we got to look there. Okay.
Yeah. This is the Lunkers Bass Club. They're from here in Panama City, and Jeff Ledford. They went to Lake Talquin. He won it with 13.32 pounds.
All right.
So this is the Gulf Coast Bass Anglers. James Grant won theirs. This is interesting. They went to Howard's Creek, which is, Apalachicola River system. James won it with a little over 9 pounds. And you know how tough it's been down in White City and River. The second place and third place was 2 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's amazing. You can go out there for 9 hours and catch 2 pounds.
Wow.
So, next one is the Florida Bass Anglers. Tony Cannington won it with 11.50 pounds out of Lake Seminole.
All right.
This is the Liberty County Anglers Bass Club. That's a long one there. Sterling and Judy Brown at the Ocklawackee River. 9.4 pounds.
That's a Brown family. They've been there forever.
And one I don't have a picture of real quick is the Bay County Bass Club. Tony Thompson won theirs out of White City. Like I say, it's been tough. 5.5 pounds.
Wow.
So,
why do you think White City is so tough right now?
I don't know if it's a lot of salt water coming in there. Or, I really don't know what it is. There's.
I've got reports from everybody. It's just been a tough time.
I don't know if they're still there, and we haven't adapted. They've changed, and we haven't. I don't know. I don't know. So.
And it's not because we're catching them out there, because everybody catches and releases.
Catch them and release them, yeah.
It's got to be something natural. So. All right, this next one. Who we have?
Okay, we're going to go into the monthly trails they have around here now. This is the American Bass Anglers, the Seminole Division, so therefore fishing out of Lake Seminole. Keith Bordoff with 22.06 pounds.
That's a healthy bunch right there.
And this is a tournament trail we have the last Saturday of every month at Deer Point Lake, Deer Point Team Trail. And they did real well. This is Russ and Gerald Sims. They had 13.25 pounds. Second place was 13 pounds. And I think fifth place was in the money, which was about 11 pounds. So they caught some good fish for Deer Point that day.
Good job, fellas.
And this, as you can tell, is our Tuesday night tournaments. We have every other Tuesday night at Deer Point Lake. This was on the 21st. Andrew Mask and Brady Colburn with just a little over 6 pounds. But
all right.
And then on the 7th, same Tuesday night shootout, is Ashley Anderson and Jamie Anderson had 11.5 pounds. So which is not, that's just a little 3-hour tournament, $20 a person. So
all right.
First place is usually about $350.
Yeah,
so it's not bad for a little 3-hour
tournament. Ain't bad. That's right.
And this was at Franklin County Project graduation tournament we had last month at White City. Now this was a good weight. Clinton Kelly and Corey Tolbert had 15.2 pounds. So that for White City, that's really good.
If I remember, that was still cool then.
Yeah,
it was still
it was cool, and it was raining that day.
Yeah.
So. Now this is the first annual Lake Seminole Bassmaster Invitational. It was to benefit hospice over there.
Oh,
and David Howell and David Boyd won it. This is a great weight, almost right at 29 pounds for 5 fish. So
wow.
Yeah, 25 pounds was second. You know, that's
what a good
coming
cause.
in over 25 pounds and don't win. So,
Right.
Then this was our the Bass Nation. We have our 4 qualifiers throughout the year here, and this was the 3rd one over at Lake Talcon. There's a boater and a no boater. This was the boater. Evan Robbins won it with 17.5 pounds.
Okay, and the last one?
And the no boater, Steve Herson, won it with 10.69 pounds. So we caught a bunch of fish that day. I think I had 15 something that came in 4th place, I think.
But oh, you did? Good deal.
Yep, caught a bunch.
So in general, Talcon is pretty hot right now.
Talcon and Seminole are just the places to be at, but Talcon is really good. You know?
Wow.
And the guy who won that one, this was just a week and a half ago, said all of them were still spawning. Everyone he caught was still on the beds. So,
really?
Yeah. So
that's a good sign.
And everyone I caught, I didn't sight fish at all. You know, they're still in all phases out there. You know, so mostly.
So they did all their sight fishing, most of them.
Yeah, he said first place. Every one of them was on the bed sight fishing.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
All right, look, we're gonna get ready to take a break. Then we'll come back. We got a map of Tyndall. Then we got all kind of lures they've been using and all kind of little inventions people are thinking about. So let's take this break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I remember as a kid, my dad told me, son, don't stir up a hornet's nest because you're going to get stung. And we never did, but we got close to it one time. But listen, we had a hornet's nest being stirred up over here at Tyndall. Now, y'all all know about it. Over the weekend, my email lit up, the Facebook lit up, and everybody was calling. What in the world is going on? And folks, they're planning on closing off Tyndall for the outdoorsmen. And I'm going to show you right now the map of the areas they're going to close off. Is like I got 4 different slides and all. And we're going to talk more in detail. I'm going to invite the Tyndall people to come on and explain what they're doing. But what you as a viewer and you as an outdoors person, you as a responsible citizen, we're going to jump on this. We're going to call a congressman, call everybody you know, and we're going to really try to get this thing stopped before it goes any further. But let's look at the picture now. I'm going to show you the area. This is Military Point. Now you can see the shaded in areas are the areas they're going to close. So anywhere from 300 to 500 feet, which you know if you're fishing, red fishing and speckled trout fishing, this is where all the fish are going to be up on the shore. So that's Military Point. Now let's go down to the next area. It's Fred Bayou. They're closing off all those bayous there. You can see the colored in right down to Fred's Bayou. Okay, that's all colored in. All right, now let's go over to the next slide. Is a little Cedar Bayou. That's a little bayou there, but they're closing it from 500 feet out all the way up in there, and you can catch fish up in those bayous too. Now, Silver Flag, and that's over. We're coming in from East Bay now. That's the East Bay area. See, way out in there, they're closing it off. All right, and then we got this area right here. This is these next two are the ones that really get me. Now you can see this is colored all the way around. I want to zoom in. I don't know if I can zoom in. This area right here in the center of your screen. See that marsh area? That's one of the red. You heard me talk about it on the fishing report. That area right there in the center, that is a redfish hot spot. And there have been some fine redfish caught out of there. And if they're going to close off all the area, it goes way up on those bayous over there to the right-hand side of your screen. It goes way on over in there. And they're just closing off that whole area, 300 to 500 feet out, okay? And then come back over here, and the area all the way to Redfish Point, all of that, you can't fish around Redfish Point, those bayous up in there. I'm putting it in the center of the screen. See Redfish Point up in there, all those nice bayous up in there that we could go up into and catch them. I know some guides that fish that area. And then come back up here to the Old Pass area, all that's going to be closed off. All right, now let's go to the last slide. Is one of the favorites of all locals, Crooked Island Sound. They will close off. I put this in the center. Davis Beach will be closed off. The original Davis Beach. A lot of people go in. A lot of people drive in here. In the center of the screen, that whole area is going to be closed off. Okay. Now that's all the slides right there. And we're going to get more detail on it, but we got to get started on it. You got to start calling people up. And let them know how you feel. I see no justifiable reason they can close off that area. If it's some kind of security problem, they could have done it at 911. You mentioned the golfing. You could go over there and play golf.
Yeah, up until they closed it. I think in the last couple of days, anybody could get on there and play golf.
So anyway, we're going to talk a lot more about that, but we're going to get back to bass fishing now. We're going to talk about it almost every day. We'll see what we can get done on this. Now, what's going on? Let's get back to bass again.
All right.
You had some lures or something, or what?
Well, we got a few things. We got some other pictures of some big old bass in Lake Talcott, if we wanted to see them.
We'll show those next. Now,
okay.
let's show while we've got the camera set on this angle.
All right.
What kind of plug?
Well, in the morning right now, if I was to start out, top order is a good thing to start out. I've showed you this frog before. I'm going to show you 3 different top orders.
That's a good color, too.
Early in the morning. Yeah,
what color do you call that?
This is watermelon red, watermelon seed red. And but you just put a number 5, number 6 hook with this.
Okay.
Just throw it and wind it in a million times. You're going to catch a few on it. But some of the main top orders I throw is that frog, buzzbait I showed you before. It's just got a big old blade on it that makes a lot of noise, displaces a lot of water.
Well, that aggravates them too, don't it?
It does. It makes they can hear it. It's a lot louder than the frog I just showed you. And then I don't have this one out of the pack, but it's another type of top order frog, but it's on the silent side. It's weedless. It would be for throwing up in a bunch of junk and in lily pads and working it a lot slow. This one you're going to work slow.
Now, I caught the biggest bass I ever caught off Lake Jackson was years ago. Was that frog built just like that?
Yeah,
it sure was.
It's more of a slow presentation. So you start out in the morning throwing some top order like that, and then when they stop hitting that, they're still there. The sun comes up. It's took them down in the water columns on top. So then you go with some search baits, something like this. Now this is a different kind of spinner bait, other than the fact it's got 4 blades on it. I think it mimics little minnows going through the water. Now, Lake Talcott 2 weeks ago, in that qualifier, I had 15 pounds roughly. Most of them come on the spinner bait right
So
here.
that looks like a little school of minnows coming.
Yeah, it really looks good under there. It's kind of like the Alabama rig, having a bigger profile. That's what this is. And I caught several on it. Another search bait. This is the chatterbait. And it's just a regular jig, but has that blade on the front that really makes it wobble. Goes crazy. That's another good one. And then when that quits working, or if it doesn't work, then I've showed you this before. It's time to get into that grass, and fish are going to get buried up in that grass.
Oh, yeah.
And, you get, that's a tungsten 1 ounce weight right there. And on the front of it, there's
the ridges on the body, too.
There's all kinds of creatures. These are just called creature baits. You put that little stopper on the front of there to stop the weight.
Okay.
And you can get those at Lee's.
Okay.
And another good one here. This I think I showed you this last month, but I wasn't real sure. It's just a regular Texas rig worm.
That's got to be the standby. Tell people why it's called a Texas rig as compared to Carolina.
Yeah, because I'm going to show you how I've kind of done this in 2 parts. But Texas rig is, you see the weight is on the head of it right there. Carolina rig, the weight would be slid up the line. But on this particular one, there's this. I'm gonna call it a rubber toothpick.
Okay.
Okay, you see that?
Yeah.
You can slide that up through the weight, which I have on this one. So when I want to do a quick Carolina rig, I'll just slide that weight up the line. It'll stay in place because it has that rubber toothpick in there. You slide it in there and cut it off on the front and the back side of it. And so I've been catching a lot of fish like this. Yeah, you can it doesn't damage the line because it's rubber. You can slide it up as far as you want. It'll stay.
When would you decide whether you're going to Texas rig it or Carolina rig it? What makes you?
Well, some people do it all year long, you know.
Yeah.
And I always have both in my boat.
So you can just switch around back and forth.
Around.
But what
and
conditions?
A lot of people, Bobby Smith in particular, will tell me that he can go behind anybody that's throwing a Texas rig, and he'll go behind them with a Carolina rig and catch fish that they missed.
Really?
Because the Carolina rig is much more of a subtle presentation because it doesn't have the weight on the worm. The weight is anywhere from 1 foot to 4 foot up the line.
Yeah.
So your lure's back there just kind of floating along versus actually banging off the bottom. So, you know, sometimes that Carolina rig. Bobby says that he'll catch them behind you all day long with a Carolina rig.
Okay.
And he's a good fisherman. You know, he's proven that several times. So, but anyway, but this is kind of neat where you can just slide it up any point up the line you want and it'll stay right there. So, and I use spider wire on mostly everything and use a dark brown to because after you use spider wire for a long time, the water will turn it light white. Basically, it comes in a moss green type color.
Okay.
I'll use a dark permanent marker, keep these in the boat, and
actually on
color the line up 2 or 3 feet. You know, it works real well. About every trip you need to do that. So,
cool.
But yeah, those are just a few lures and these
little
stoppers that I was showing you on the for flipping.
Yeah.
And this little toothpick type weight, you can get those at Anglers Tackle over in Callaway. You know, but you need to have those in your boat.
All right.
So,
all right, well, that's good. Let's go. Okay, that's a lot of paraphernalia. Let's go ahead and take our break now. We're going to come back with a lot more good stuff. All right, welcome back. Sitting with Alan and Courtney. Now, first, let's get into our fish and game forecast today before we get back to our bass fishing, brought to us by Mark Cowart, Edgewater Beach Realty, 832-6000. And our times, we're looking at this morning, 9:37 to 11:37. It'll be a good time right there. And tonight is an even number from 10 to 12. 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock tonight. All right, but this morning looks really good before lunch. Take an early lunch break. Okay, Alan, and we were talking about, some big fish. We talk, we're talking about these pictures. A lot of times, we I like to show the pictures because we can tell people about all the big bass and all, but when you show a picture of them, it's really nice. And this bass here, you said it weighed about how much?
That one was over 11 pounds. That was
11-pound bass.
Mitch Olenet in an American Bass Anglers tournament last month had one over 11. Had a good stringer overall, but the one there was over 11 pounds. And these are just about a half a dozen that people have sent to me. So there's a lot of them that get caught that I don't know nothing about.
Okay.
These are all Lake Talquin here in the last month.
How big is that one out there?
This one's 8.5 pounds. It was caught last Thursday night. They have a Thursday night tournament at Talquin, so that one's 8.5 pounds.
Now you want to catch a big bass, folks. You're looking at
That one, 8.92 pounds, and that was caught in the Elite Anglers Team Trail up there last month.
Okay.
So Ralph Mosley and Marcus Perica. And Tony Cannington caught that one at Lake Talquin, which was over 9 pounds.
Okay.
People
we're showing the big bass now.
Some big ones. Steve Burke caught that one at Lake Talquin, 9.77 pounds.
All right, and the last one, of all people, we're going to put old Bobby on it.
He knows how to hold them, doesn't he? It makes it look like it's 20 pounds. It was 9.25 pounds.
Bobby Smith.
We had a tournament up there about 2 weeks ago, and he caught that one the day before the tournament.
Now
he needed that one the next day.
Now we just looked at 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 pound bass right there. I mean, boom, boom.
Yes. People go their whole lives and never catch one 8 pounds, and they're catching them left and right over there, because it's just a bass factory.
Is Bobby registered for that, trophy catch?
I don't know.
We got to check with him because I know he'll that right there would qualify.
Oh yeah. What you told me about it. I have to check into that a little bit more. But there's several fish over 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, all those guys.
Those are just ones that people have reported to me. Sent me pictures of. So.
That's good. All right.
Yeah.
Now, you had a good little invention over there. Let's
yeah.
Folks
this is kind of an interesting little deal. You've seen these things on. In the grocery stores,
like holding potato chip bags.
Yeah, these clips that just hold the potato chip bags and stuff like that. And somebody has come out with these things and using them for you open up your rod lockers and you've seen the little adhesive back.
Okay.
With the.
So you put.
Yep, with the tie strap to hold this on.
Okay. So you put that.
Yep. And you can take your.
So then you have it set up in your boat, in your little locker.
Mm-hmm.
So then
I put these lures up. Yeah, but they'll take and just take. These will be lures that you want to get quick access to. You can take you some spinner baits or buzz baits and stick them up in there, and that's how they're holding on. And it works really well. I've got these in my boat under just about every lid, every compartment you open up. You can have lures that you want to get quick access to.
That's a great idea.
Sure, or packs of worms or whatever.
Okay.
So.
And you know, not just for bass fishing, you use that for any kind of.
Oh, sure, any kind of fishing,
saltwater,
and it doesn't necessarily have to be lures. It could hold a variety of different things that you just want to get some quick access to without having to go into that certain box, that's full of that certain tackle or bag. But they're kind of handy to have. So. But,
all right.
And I think I showed you this once before as well. But you guys.
Everybody wants a
bass boat saver. You get this at Angler's Tackle.
Everybody wants a clean boat that shines. Okay.
Yeah. What this is, it's not one like your thick paste wax that takes you forever to put on. It's just a quick wax.
Okay.
It works really, really well. As much as these things cost. I've got an all fiberglass car. I use it on my car. It works real well. It needs to be Corvette saver.
All fishermen say happiness is a clean boat and a big fish.
It works real well. So and one thing I always try to remember, you guys with the summer coming up, the sun's out there. It's already too hot, but do not forget your sunscreen, your sunblock.
It has gotten hot all of a sudden, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's about getting too hot for me. Getting old.
Well, and we talked about this the other day too about UV protection and all. Especially if you're on the water all day long, you just got to do it.
Well, those tournaments we're out there for 9 to 10 hours.
In most of your bass tournaments, is it required for you guys to wear the life jackets while you're traveling and all, or y'all just do it? I see.
Every tournament is different. Most tournaments, it's when your combustion engine is on, you have to have your life jacket on. There's some of the tournaments now that are saying when you're on plane, you have to have your life jacket on. I like that better because if you're just going to idle from here to say across the other side of the parking lot, and you're going to go half of a mile an hour, you don't have to have it on.
Island on.
Yeah, but when you get that big motor on plane, you have to have your life jacket on. And it has to be in the boat with you. That's a state law.
Of all the people bass fishing and all, bass fishermen relatively have been accident free in compared to a lot of other segments of our boating.
Well, these boats will go. Mine's slow and it goes 65 miles.
And they'll go that fast and all, but really the accidents and all, and the boating fatalities and all, really low for bass fishing.
I can never recall us ever having.
Well, I think one thing y'all just stay so aware of everything going on around here.
Yep.
Well, Adam, we're going to get out of here, buddy.
Well, all right. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you so much for all that good information and pictures and all. And folks, as always, thank you so much for watching our show. Got another show lined up tomorrow. It'll be really good. So do something good for some other day, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.